Hey sportsmen, welcome to Saginaw Bay, Michigan and beautiful Saginaw Bay. Today, an early spring, late April, walleye trolling, and then in the same spots that we troll, we're going to show you the newest and greatest presentation going for Great Lakes walleye fishermen. Stay tuned. Good old trusty offshore boards and bandits. What we're doing is we're late April and we're coming to get some post-spawn fish. We're right outside the river mouth and got some open water here that's started to clean up. A couple of really nice sunny days, no wind. Beautiful Saginaw Bay fish. Keep your rod tip down, remember, when you're trying to catch these things, because wallowing fish.
Oh, that's a nice fish.
Steve. That's what you come to Saginaw Bay, Michigan for right there. Beautiful fish, little sunshine, about a 22-inch fish. This is a real normal fish. You're gonna catch a ton of fish between 16 and 22. You know, you'll get the random bigger one, but this is what Saginaw Bay has to offer. Limits of these.
Deal.
Hit a waypoint.
Okay. Okay.
Turned and looked and thought, son of a gun, that flag is down. We're in open water.
We're working hard, that's all.
This is a good fish too.
What did I just put out there?
What was that? Was it that monkey one?
I'm not sure. We were both just changing stuff up.
Well, we'll know. Go ahead and send that freewheel in there. This is a nice fish, ladies and gentlemen. We just went up and set up again. Gosh, this is a big fish. Yeah, this is where I'm going to be very thankful for my little Strike King striper, my loose striper poles, my converted trolling rods.
Pull this one right out of the equation so it doesn't get caught up with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one right there.
Oh yeah, that's a good walleye. Get right in there, Chase.
I'm ready. That is a nice eye. Bingo! Man, look how golden he is too. Good fish. Look at that bugger.
Look at that bandit.
Chewed it right up, did it?
Yes.
Oh, that's that purple one.
That's
okay.
that purple one. We just said.
Well, good, because we were debating whether to pull that one or not.
We'll be able to put another one out now.
I just took one off. Nice fish.
Awesome fish. Beautiful fish. Get that in the light. Look at the colors on that. That's a dark fish. That fish has been in the river.
Yep, probably just got done spawning. Probably just dropped
out. Well, that's number 2, boys.
We're only about, what are we, 4 miles from the mouth?
Exactly, 4 miles from the mouth of the river.
The Fisherman's Digest is brought to you by Strike King Lures. Tie one on. Lose. Feel the difference. And WavePro. Best ride on the water.
So we hit 105 on the first one. Now Steve's hooked up nicely on a 95. The encouraging thing, this is in 32 foot. So
we could stay outside of everybody.
We don't have to go fight into the 30 foot. A lot of times when you're trolling, you're gonna, you know, try to find a depth zone that these fish are holding in, but Steve and I have found kind of an area, it looks like, where there's just some fish pouring out of the river mouth, and they're just kind of staging, I think, out here, Steve, finding a comfort zone to suspend at. So, you know, when the offshore board's got a nice list to it. That board right there, that's money when you're trolling. When you're inline trolling, you gotta have that board.
There, yeah, this has got some shoulders. Whoa.
Oh yeah.
He's a fighting. That's a pretty good fish.
Oh yeah, this is a big fish.
He's going absolutely ballistic.
Oh,
this is a nice fish. Is this a walleye?
Oh yeah. It's a laker.
Oh, it's a laker. I'm gonna say, man, it felt too big to be a walleye.
This will be fun, guys. We're gonna show you a byproduct catch of this fishery. More and more and more, you're seeing this Lake Huron fishery kick out some lake trout along with your walleye, and that is all good. We are happy to take them.
He is a big bugger.
On the smoker, these things are awesome. Oh my
He's a roller.
gosh.
Gonna say, man, that is one hellacious walleye.
This is. And what happens here in Huron is the main Lake Huron is probably right now one of the single best places to catch lake trout. And what's happening is the walleyes are leaving the bay to get into cooler water and migrating out. But in the spring of the year, you get these guys come in because of the abundance of forage that's available on the inner bay. And because the water temperatures on these inner bay are in the 40s, that's perfect for lake trout. So you have no problem with these fish coming right in, feeding side by side with the walleyes in the spring. We're gonna box this because they're great on the smoker. And we're gonna show you hopefully another awesome Saginaw Bay walleye. And what's really fun about this day today, Steve, is that the audience can really get a feel for what these fish are like and how clean this water is. And he slapped at that one, Steve. One hook in him.
Oh, that's it, huh?
That's it.
Okay, I'll bring him up here.
Oh,
Did you get him?
yeah. See this? We'll show you where he's hooked. Right on the outside of the mouth.
Barely hooked him.
What that says here, see this?
Don't let him get you now.
If I cannot get myself, I'll try to hold him. But I want to show you this. That's the only hook in that fish. And what that means is that fish came off that point, Steve, and ran out to that bait and took a swipe at it. Bam, he almost got it. I'll show you, because he'll be off the minute I pull this one barb off. Boom, fish is free. And that confirms what we've talked about. We've talked about hitting structures with crankbaits and just running them by, and those fish will literally be on the bottom in this beautiful clean water, and they'll see that crankbait 15, 20, 30 feet away from them. They'll run up and grab it. You saw by the way he was hooked, by the way the board went back, and by the way our boat was positioned on that structure. Guys, you know, as a walleye fisherman, one of the most important things you can have as a tool is a graph that picks up clear and accurate signal even while you're up on plane going, let's say, from 20 to 30 miles an hour. High-speed graphing helps guys who troll know exactly where to set their crankbaits, because you want to always set them at the base of the bait pods that you're marking. And you'll want to be able to mark those bait pods at speed before they either slide down or away from your unit. So the only way to do that is at higher speed. Let's go for a ride.
The Fisherman's Digest is brought to you by Offshore Tackle, leaders in trolling technology. Traxstech, the ultimate fishing system. And Garmin.
What we're doing right here is, let me show you on the graph while he makes an advance on this. See this on our Garmin? We've got 3 little nipples right here, 1, 2, 3. And what we're doing, you see our boat's in between 1 and 2 right now. We're bumping against those. We're up at 27 feet. We were just out in 32 feet of water. So we're getting these fish right off the tips of these little indentations. What's super important is to have great electronics with a single contour. See, if you see me zoom in here, you'll see how easy it is for us to see. There's the tip of the point right there. There's our boat. So we're right off that point. That's critical. So even when you're open water trolling,
this is a huge eye.
Yep. Even when you're open water trolling, it is important to have a great Garmin with good electronics. We're going to show you a big walleye from Saginaw Bay right here, right now.
I almost thought it had eggs for a second.
So what we're going to do is we're going to show you just exactly what these fish are feeding on. Now, we've been using bandits, and this pink lemonade just simply shows up super well in this gin clean water of Lake Huron. And that's just a really good color for Lake Huron. If you've got something that's pink and something that's yellow, you're going to catch fish on Lake Huron. Another great color is purple. Let me just show you right now what we're dealing with. Look at this live well. We're not lighting the world on fire, but every fish in that live well is a real fish. It's worth taking the time to pay attention to details. No, you're not going to catch 20 fish necessarily every day, but if you just hone in and you stay locked into details, that type of live well can be in your boat. Right here, guys, we got a board flying back. We just talked about point fishing, right? Look at that number. Where my boat is waypoint 10. It literally is right on the numbers. You've got to pay attention to details. When we went through here 3 hours ago and trolled through here, we caught a fish. Steve hit the waypoint. We came through here this time 3 hours later, boom, another fish. There was more than one fish there. So that's what the importance of waypoints is. You've got to pay attention to details when you troll. Awesome.
Just beautiful fish. Healthy looking fish.
Oh yeah. You know, for this week's system fishing, one of the most important elements of any boat rig is the kicker engine, the trolling engine that you use, whether you're walleye fishing like we are today, or you're high-speed salmon fishing up to 3.5 miles an hour. The Merc 99 Pro kicker is flat out the best kicker engine in the industry. I have had at least a dozen of these. These work flawlessly. I love mine being a remote control connected by this bar here to my main engine, to my 300 Verado. And what that allows me to do is to steer from the console. I'm typically trolling big water, so I want to be up midship steering my boat and looking backwards towards my boards. Now, this has, of course, power trim and tilt, electric start, and throttle control. Now, one of the other really cool things about having a kicker engine is that ability to have it as secondary power, the ability to get in. If something happened to my main engine, now knock on something, I fished 3,115 days in my professional career and never gone to my main engine, turn the key, and had it not start. So I don't think that's going to happen. But if it did, or if something happened where I needed to get in, this kicker's great secondary power. It'll push my big 2250 Authority about 6 or 7 miles an hour, which is great as an emergency backup plan to getting in when I'm far offshore on the Great Lakes. The Merc 99 Pro kicker, the standard of the industry.
The Fisherman's Digest is brought to you by Crestliner, forged with strength, defined by durability.
You know, a lot of people think about Frankenmuth, Michigan as a fall-winter destination for shopping, which it is. But what I love about Frankenmuth, Michigan is the summer opportunities. I mean, I've come here with my boat and fished for smallmouth bass right here on the Cass River. I've spent time kayaking here, and I've just spent time enjoying myself in the summer. A couple of the really fun things that jump right out at me about water and outdoor activities, which isn't normally associated with Frankenmuth, is the boat opportunities, those little fun things, those activities you can do that you don't normally think of doing in a community the size or in the metroplex area of Frankenmuth, you know, being just outside the Midland Bay City, Tri-Cities area. You know, the dory boats that the fun ships offer are really, really fun. These are things where you can go and get wine and cheese and crackers, sit back with a group of people and enjoy a tour of beautiful Cass River system that's in and around and flows in and through Frankenmuth, Michigan. Another opportunity is the Bavarian Belle. Now this is an old Mississippi steamship type boat, full paddle wheel. It gives you that feel of going down the Mississippi, that Huckleberry Finn, that mid-century feel of just being out on the river, and it shows you all of the beautiful properties and all of the awesome scenery and wildlife that's on the Cass River right in the downtown and greater outer Frankenmuth area. So the fishing here in the Cass River system in downtown and the outer area of Frankenmuth is really old school traditional small river fishing. You're going to be fishing for smallmouth bass, a scattering of largemouth bass, certainly rock bass, catfish, and all of the typical river dwellers that are here in and around the greater Shiawassee watershed, which the Cass River is part of. Now, when I come to fish here, I'm going to fish either kayaks or small boats. I'm going to be drifting shorelines with either bobbers and live bait and sinkers, or small sinking worms, small spinners. You get the idea. Small crankbaits or Rapala number 7 or number 9. You're going to be fishing, casting to the shoreline and reeling back slowly. Most of these fish are feeding on the minnows that litter the shoreline here. If you come to the Cass River, the first thing my editor and I noticed is the tremendous amount of life that is on the shoreline of this river. You know, one of the other things that's super important when you're going to go use water and facilities at a community is how much attention they paid to their docking, their ramp facilities, their launching area. Frankenmuth has done an amazing job of completely renovating their facilities to accommodate the 21st century boater, kayaker, and water enthusiasts. As you saw when we were pulling our kayak out, they have this really cool basic drive, paddle right up kayak exit point, which makes it really good not only from an ease standpoint, but from a safety standpoint. You don't have the wipeouts there at the facility. And also their main boat launching facility has been completely renovated here just in the last 12 months. So for 2019, a brand new launch ramp with a state-of-the-art dock system, easy for you to put your up to 18-foot boat in with no problem. Frankenmuth has paid attention to the details. You know, one of the greatest things that's gone on in walleye fishing in the Great Lakes is the advent of hard baits, sinking hard baits to be casted on structure, whether it's a rip and wrap or whether it's a jig and wrap, to catch very, very spooky walleyes here on these Great Lakes structures. Join us right now for an awesome little castings educational segment where we show you in almost the identical spots where everyone is trolling how you can go and attack these fish in a completely different way with a completely different presentation.
Basically, this is something that's been around a long time, but on Saginaw Bay, not many fishermen have used it. It's a crankbait, a rip and wrap, and what it is it's a reactionary bite. You're throwing it out, trying to match the color, letting it hit the bottom, and you whip it up, and as it falls, typically that's when they hit it. What you're trying to key in on is points and structure that are obviously holding bait and holding fish. It's a technique that works really well just after the spawn when these fish come out here to feed. I know last year in the NWT, this was accountable for first, second, and third. So it's pretty much a proven technique, but it really opened the eyes to a lot of people around here as to a way to catch fish, only using one rod casting instead of trolling. So basically today is what I'm using is a blue and silver rip and wrap. And when you throw it up, or throw it out, it comes down and it'll vibrate down. And the reaction to that is usually what draws the strikes. Some days you have to really whip it up and let it fall a long ways. Other days, if you're just pulling along the bottom and a little hop, when they're not as aggressive, they'll hit it. So today I'm lifting it a good 1.5 feet up off the bottom, but I'm letting it set when it falls for a second, and they're coming in and hitting it just as it's falling. They're picking it up. They're not really slamming it. But later on, as the water gets warmer, they really slam it. You can go through numbers of fish. Basically what we're doing is we're throwing out cast into the ledges of these drop-offs, and we're getting a reactionary bite using a rip and wrap.
Beautiful.
Oh,
fish.
that's a bigger fish
It's a
than I
big
thought
fish.
by far.
It's a way big fish.
Boom!
Oh. Look at that rip and wrap, and we'll show it to you right here.
They just, especially on calm days, it tends to work better. And you're just dragging this by their nose, popping it up and down. Does life get any better than that?
Hey, thanks so much for joining us today on beautiful Saginaw Bay. We caught lots of fish. Thanks for tuning in each week, and we'll see you again here next week.
Closed captioning brought to you by WavePro. Best ride on the water, online at waveproshock.com.